A few years ago, David Bramwell's girlfriend left him for someone she described as younger but more mature. She also said he was self-centred and too wrapped up in his own projects. To get over the heartache, David set himself another project, to go off in search of Utopia. He spent a year visiting some of the world's most inspiring communities, and along the way encountered anarchists, singing plants, a dominatrix-run kingdom, the eighth wonder of the world, and a fully functioning time machine. He came back a changed man and wrote a very funny book about it. But exactly where and what are these extraordinary places?
He starts out with an imagined telephone conversation with her mother. During this telephone conversation, she makes plenty of fun of her mother's, quote, stupidity, unquote. At the same time, you get quite a nice impression of what's going on in Esalen, how easy it's misunderstood.
Big Sur, 74 miles of stunning coastline situated between San Francisco and LA on the west coast of America. And in the 1950s, a bohemian hangout, popularized by such writers as Jack Kerouac, Lawrence Durrell, and Henry Miller. Slap bang in the middle of Big Sur, Esalen Hot Springs, perched on the cliffs, overlooking the stunning Pacific Ocean. Since the beginning of the 20th century, Esalen Hot Springs had been owned by the Murphy family, and in the late 1950s, they decided to hand over the whole enterprise to their young son, Michael Murphy, who was just out of college. Full of the pioneering spirit of youth and getting into the beatnik scene, young Michael Murphy had also been inspired by LA's newest resident, the writer Aldous Huxley. Huxley been going around college campuses saying that what the world needed right then was a centre for developing human potentiality. Michael Murphy saw this as his calling. He'd convert the family hot springs into a place to explore the nascent new age. The only problem was these guys, biker gangs. In the evening, Esalen is overrun with them. They're all turning up there to use the hot springs for orgies and drug binges. They're not going to take too kindly to being asked to make way for a yoga class. And so Michael Murphy employs for himself a caretaker, a guy barely out of his teens who's a young aspiring writer with a gun fetish and a bad attitude. His name is Hunter S Thompson. After several unsuccessful and life-threatening altercations with the bikers, Murphy and Hunter S Thompson decide on a full frontal assault, and they organise a bizarre posse of locals. Kim Novak and her boyfriend who live in the area, a young singer called Joan Baez and her partner, the elderly Henry Miller, and of course Hunter S Thompson and Michael Murphy. Despite having a pack of Doberman dogs and an arsenal of weapons between them, the posse are terrified, except for Hunter S Thompson, who's stoned out of his skull. But as they're heading down to confront the bikers, the dogs begin to emit an ungodly howl, which could be heard as far as Utah as the two males begin to fight over the bitch. By the time the group approach the hot springs, the bikers have cleared off, fearing they're about to be attacked from a pack of hounds from hell. Well, at least that's how the founders of Esalen like to recount that story. And so Murphy's now free to set up his dream, a centre for developing human potentialities, running courses and activities there. He invites along the historian Alan Toynbee, psychologist Abraham Maslow, grumpy German therapist Fritz Perl, who pioneered Gestalt therapy, the cell-styled philosopher-entertainer Alan Watts, author of The Way of Zen, Buckminster Fuller, creator of the Geodesic Dome, Joseph Campbell, author of Hero with a Thousand Faces. Courses run daily, ranging from interpersonal intelligence to value your psychotic experience. By the mid-1960s, Esalen has become incredibly popular. People are going there to explore groundbreaking therapies such as primal scream and take part in classes such as Tai Chi and meditation and yoga. Some critics denounce Esalen, claiming it propagates individualism and selfishness. They coin the phrase me generation to describe what they see as rampant narcissism. By the mid-80s, Esalen's reputation has spread so far that it's been visited regularly by high-ranking Russian diplomats. And apparently one afternoon, in a hot tub, when they're there with a bunch of other high-ranking US diplomats, and there's some activity going on that breaks the ice between these two factions. This is the moment in which the Cold War ended. Or at least, that's how Esalen's founders like to tell the story. So look, nowadays we take it for granted that we can walk down a local newsagent's and there'll be an advert there for a yoga class or meditation or Tai Chi or something. But it was only a few decades ago that such things in many parts of the West would have been considered weird, subversive, even dangerous. Esalen was the epicenter for the whole self-help popular psychology movement, which has exploded since the 1960s. And one thing I forgot to mention, Esalen is paradise on earth. If you go there, you'll find that it's situated amongst a giant redwood forest where there's butterflies and hummingbirds, and you sit in those hot tubs perched on the cliffs overlooking the shimmering Pacific Ocean, watching otters and dolphins and whales. The company there is extraordinary, the food is incredible, the climate is perfect. For a while I thought I'd found paradise on earth at Esalen, but I was cautioned one night in a hot tub by one of the long-term residents who said to me, "Don't stay here too long, David. Don't end up like half the old bastards who set this place up and used to teach here." I said, "Why not?" And he said, "Look around you. All of this beauty and the good life, can't you guess? They all drank themselves to death." So what did I learn? Well, firstly, that I came close to finding my paradise on earth, but then was I guilty of falling in love with a spiritual holiday park? And secondly, I developed a bit of an unhealthy obsession with hot tubs, so much so that I've actually had architectural plans drawn up for a hot tub community in my hometown of Brighton. If you want to know more about that, then I suggest you should read the No9 bus to Utopia. Sorry, just a minute. Hello? A crisis at Esalen? What kind of crisis? Someone's nicked all of the plugs for the hot tubs. Well, why don't you just replace them? Well, when did they stop making them? 1978. Leave it with me.